if you're in business, you've got problems, and that's a good thing.
Hello and welcome to Meet the Coach. I'm your host, Carla, Egan, and today our theme is how to get a grip on your business. I'm joined, our guest today is Anthony Wood, who's the CEO of Pinnacle Traction. Now, Anthony calls himself a private growth advisor to business owners that are ready to scale. He's a certified EOS implementer. I'd like to know more about that, and a coach, and is passionate about sharing the business framework that turned his own business around from the largest losses that he's ever known to the biggest profits that he's ever seen. Anthony, good morning, welcome, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Carla. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me on today.
Now, our theme today is how to get a grip on your business. And I'm interested to understand your journey of how you've started as a civil engineer and how you've made that transition into your own business and now helping hundreds of other people's businesses as well.
So whilst I did go through school and ended up university doing civil engineering, I quite quickly realised that I'd much rather be working with people than crawling through sewer pipes 35 metres underground. So made a bit of a shift, and for the last 25 or so years, I've been running and building businesses across a variety of different industries here in Australia, in Canada, and the UK. So things like retail, hospitality, commercial cleaning, indoor vertical farming, a couple of software development businesses, an IT and telecommunications business. And so whilst they were really spread across geography and industry, there was a bit of a theme through all of those different businesses where I was looking to find ways in which I could put in place some tools, basically some structure to be able to help the people that I was surrounding myself with actually get on and do the things that I was asking them to do. So I guess the engineer in me was still trying to find ways in which it could actually come out and come to the fore. And so it was about 8 years ago that my business was actually in a bit of a crisis point. Made a couple of decisions, and won't bore you with a lot of those details just yet, but suffice to say that as a result of particularly a recruiting decision that went horribly wrong, I found myself 2 years later with a business that was a smoking ruin of what it had been. And so my business partner and I then spent the next 2 years successfully rebuilding that business. And key to that was the tools you talked about. You touched on EOS before. And so tapping into the tool set and the methodology that underpins EOS, or the entrepreneurial operating system. Love that journey so much that I actually, at the end of 2 years, I turned to the guy who was helping me put it all in place, a gentleman by the name of Daniel Davis. And I said to him, I want your job. I want to do what you do, Dan. And so just over 4 years ago, I stepped out of the day-to-day running of that business and have been working with entrepreneurs and their leadership teams, helping them get what they want from their business, effectively seeking to find ways in which I can help those entrepreneurs live their ideal lives ever since.
There's a key word that you said there in your journey, and that's systems. Having some proven frameworks, and a lot of businesses that want to grow don't necessarily know how to do that. And so I want to dive a little bit deeper into this EOS system, this tool, this methodology. And all great systems have key components that help with their success. Can you take us through that? Can you talk us through this tool and how you've applied it in your business and how you apply it with business owners as well?
Sure thing, sure. So at its heart, every business has 6 key components. And to the degree in which you are strong across each and all of those 6 components will ultimately determine whether you succeed or fail as a business. So first off, it's vision. It's getting clarity on your vision. And that's not just you as the entrepreneur, you as the founder, or someone in a senior decision maker in the business. Everyone has their own interpretation of a vision that may or may not have been shared. So when we get that vision crystal clear across everyone's mind, they all seeing the same thing, all of a sudden we can begin to channel all of the human energy in the business, getting us all heading in the same direction. Because there's one thing for us to actually have a shared vision, but or a clear vision, but we need to make sure it's actually shared by everyone across the entire organization. Because when you've got that, that's how you start to get really strong on the vision component of your organization. Then you're looking at people, and that really goes hand in hand with vision. It's who are we as an organization really determines what makes the right people in the business. And as Jim Collins so eloquently put it in his book, Good to Great, getting the right people in the right seat on the bus. And so it's all about identifying what makes a great person in your business, because that may be different than your neighbor down the road, the other businesses in different business parks, someone else that you know, or it may even be a business that you have run previously. There's no good or bad. It's just what's the right combination for at this business as it stands right now. So figuring out our values, getting crystal clear on those, ensuring that we're surrounding ourselves with people that live and breathe those values. They're not just wallpaper words. They're actually things that are tangible, demonstrable, that we are living on a day-to-day basis. And then it's about having clarity of accountability across the organization. What is the right structure for growth for the business for the next 6 to 12 months? Getting that crystal clear and making sure that we're then putting the people that we've got in our business into the right seat. Because when we've got that combination of right people and right seat, that's when we're making sure that we've got a great solid organization full of people that are doing the things that we need them to do. Then it's about data. How are we distilling the business down to a handful of key numbers that we need to be looking at on a weekly basis? Modern business today has the luxury, and I say that luxury in air quotes, because we are drowning in data. Doesn't just because we've got a truckload of information doesn't mean there's actually anything useful that we're getting out of it. But how do we distill the business down to the handful of things that we need to know, the leading indicators, so we can focus our activity, our actions today, this week, that are going to generate the results that we're looking for in the future. There's the expression that's commonly used about actions precede results. This is where those things really get tangible, and we can track how we're doing with those actions. So once we've got clarity on a vision, we're surrounding ourselves with great people and we've got good quality data, that's when we can start to tackle our issues. Issues is the fourth component. Every business has issues. Don't treat it like a dirty word. It's actually a good thing to have. If you're in business, you've got problems, and that's a good thing. The only types of business that doesn't have issues are those that have already closed their doors, gone out of business. So if you've got issues, you're still in the game, it's a good thing. It's actually what you do about those issues, though, that counts. Do you have circular conversations going around and around, and talking about the same thing week in, week out? Or are you lining them up, knocking them over, putting them to bed once and for all? Because then when you are getting that, digging in, identifying the root cause of your issues, really having robust discussions as a team, and then sorting out a quick, short time-based, typically 7 days resolution, that's where you can actually get real traction on putting those things to bed once and for all. Then we've got process. What are we doing to set up the business so we are systematically, consistently delivering an exceptional experience for our clients, for our business partners and suppliers, and for our staff? Because as we grow as organizations, we need to make sure that we aren't providing a different experience, level of service, understanding of what we're here to do and how we're doing it, depending on what day of the week it is or who you're talking to. So getting that consistency. It's almost like the mini franchise model, where you're diving in, identifying the core processes, typically in line with your accountability structure. You're looking at your accountability chart, working out what is the right structure for growth for the business, and then what are the processes that tie in with those core functions, and ensuring that everyone is consistently following those processes. Because there's no point in getting crystal clear, doing all this work where we've identified what is our handful of core processes, documenting them in a way that they are understandable and simple to follow, but then having people not following them. That makes all that awesome work a complete waste of time. So it's getting clear on our documentation, but also ensuring that they are followed by all. And then we've got traction, the sixth key component, where we're literally bringing our vision down to the ground. It's all about execution, instilling the discipline of accountability, ensuring that we're really focusing on our priorities. We're taking our long-term view and our long-term vision of the business, really bringing it down, breaking it down into tangible, tactical chunks or rocks, as Stephen Covey popularized in the time management analogy that he uses. And when we look at what are our handful of priorities, what are the 3 to 5, maximum 7 important things that are going to help us continue our progress towards our 1-year plan and our longer term targets, but also put to bed some of the noise, potentially some of the issues that we've had bubble up in the business. This is strategic thinking brought to life in a short time frame, 90 days. Looking at that, human nature tells us that we really struggle if we've got to focus on something for longer than 90 days. You've just got to look at the number of New Year's resolutions that are lying in the dust by the 1st of April. So I love helping people think about things in a slightly different way. So just understanding short, sharp chunks, 3 months at a time. This is how we run the business. So we can achieve anything we want at all out of our business if we just break it down into a quarter at a time. And then the second part of traction is about meetings. And I know they're not very sexy. They've got a really bad reputation, and rightly so. The vast majority of meetings that are held in this country, across the globe, are a waste of time. People get in, start talking. At the end of the meeting, there's a whole bunch of hand wringing going, cool, all right, so great, I'm done, I'm out. People are left going, what was that whole meeting about? Why did we have it? And what do you mean that, great, we've actually sorted all those things? All we did was go around and around in circles. When you pull together teams, when you're working in teams, we need to make sure that we are joining the circles, getting people who work together but may have different activities clear on what's going on across the broader team. At a leadership team level, it's absolutely essential that the leadership team have clarity and insight into what's going on across the entire organization. Not that we're saying that people are poking their fingers in and getting involved in other areas of their business, but collectively as a team, they are making decisions that's impacting and influencing the entire organization. And so at the leadership team level, they're across everything. But then as we go down deeper into the organization, we can begin to focus more on those particular areas that we've got in line with our accountability chart. What are those core functions and what are the teams that are delivering those functions? And they've got to be spending their time talking about what's going on in their area of the business. But if there's anything that's escalating out of that, they've got a straight conduit into the leadership team, and vice versa. We can push things down from the leadership team as well as cascade things up to the leadership team from across the organization. And it's about getting that flow of communication, issue resolution, data. It's creating that environment where things are seamlessly moving between the different areas of the business. We've got rid of all of the silos, so there's no more turf wars, and the politics is disappearing from the organization. People are involved in the business because they want to be there. They're the right people. They're in the right seat. They've got great quality information to be able to make really good decisions. They've got they understand how to actually run the business, utilizing the processes. They've got the ability to tackle issues. They're crystal clear on where they're going, and they've actually got the tools and the plan to actually bring that to life. And so across those 6 components, as you get stronger and stronger there, ultimately, though, we are delivering on 3 key things. And this is where I help people get clear on their vision. Great, that first component there, really clear on that, and crafting the plan of what we're going to do to bring that to life. Secondly, it's giving them the tools, giving them the traction they need. And that's an intentional play on words, because everything that I talk about is out of the book Traction by Gino Wickman. He literally wrote the book that ultimately has become this thing we called EOS. And then lastly, it's about helping those leadership teams particularly function as a healthy, cohesive team, because so often that's not the case. We've got situations where they're talented individuals, they happen to work together, but they don't happen to work together very well. They're there because they have to be, not because they want to be. And get that shift, change that mindset, so that we're actually seeing that leadership team as their first team in a business, and then their area of the business that they represent is actually secondary. And so helping that shift happen then sets the tone across the rest of the business, because everyone in an organization looks to see how the leadership team are playing with each other. And if there's a great dynamic there, they're collaborative, they're supportive, it's positive, that sets the tone across the rest of the business, and everyone goes, oh, okay, yeah, I understand how it is that we're bringing our values to life here and the behaviors that the organization is looking for us to demonstrate on a day-to-day basis.
Wonderful. I love the methodology, and I love the framework, the structure that you bring to your consulting and your private growth advising. That's the strategy you're using. I was taking some notes as you were talking, and I've got to say, I love number 4, the issues. I think it's really great to validate a lot of businesses. It's okay to have issues. If you have them, it means you're still in business. So thank you for, acknowledging that as part of the process of the challenges of running a business and wanting to scale your business in the long term. For businesses that are interested in engaging with you and learning a little bit more, where can they find out more about this, Anthony, and go diving deeper into it with you?
Sure. Well, my website, www.pinnacletraction.com.au is there, and as well as sending me an email, letstalk@pinnacletraction.com.au. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, so you can check out my LinkedIn profile and understand the details will be in the notes. Also, we touched a little bit about the book. Scaling Your Business book.com.au is where you can grab a copy as part of my offer for the coaching directory people. I'm making it available complimentary. I'll handle all the shipping and posting for that. So, and if you want to give me a shout, I'm certainly contactable, 0411 880 994.
It's a really generous offer, and I already have your book. It's on my bookshelf. So thank you very much. What inspired you to write the book in the first place? Because you are a published author. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I found myself at the end of 2019, whilst I hadn't previously really thought about writing a book or collecting, putting my thoughts down, as I was beginning to do more things, particularly on LinkedIn, I was finding myself scratching down notes and thoughts on, how do we actually grow businesses? What are the things that I'm seeing across, all of the different clients that I'm working with? What are the common threads here? I'm obviously inspired by and utilize EOS and traction on a day-to-day basis, but sometimes when I'm talking with people, they're not ready. They're not ready yet to do something about the problems that they've got in their business. Doesn't mean that there aren't any, it's just that they're not actually really clear on them. And so I started to think about, are there ways in which I can help people basically address the blind spots that are impacting their ability to separate themselves out from being the center of the operations of their organization. And so that kind of sat there on the back burner. COVID hit, and then I was like, all right, I'm going to do this in this quiet time that we supposedly had in March, April, May 2020. I was like, okay, right, I'm in. So over the course of about 6 weeks, I pulled it all together and then ended up completing it mid-June, published early July last year. And I've had some really fantastic feedback, which has been absolutely awesome. But it truly is had a slightly different title when I started working with it, but the more crazier things got in early 2020, the clearer it was that truly is unpredictable time. So whilst the title may seem to be, trying to capitalize on the current situation, there's most definitely timelessness in the content, looking to find ways in which we can help people. I've got 3 different threads through the book across 10 different blind spots. Some of them are about themselves, the individual, the person that's reading the book. Have they, just because they've got the business to where it is today, are they the right person to take it further? and a couple of things along those lines. Then there's also, am I surrounding myself with the right team? Do I have the people that I need in the business? Which then opens up people's thinking to be around, do I have the right people in the right seat? And then lastly, what am I doing from a structure? Do I have clarity here? So it's really about helping people who aren't already there begin to think about their business in a different way. And really, it's about helping them think about the thing that they've created as a business, rather than just, hey, I started this thing out, maybe it was a year ago, maybe it was 5 years ago, maybe it was 35 years ago. Whatever it was that started out as a bit of a job, I didn't want to work for someone else. I've gradually tacked on more people, gathered a team around me, and now all of a sudden, I've got a whole bunch of people that are relying on me to be able to make the right decisions all the time. And that's pretty high stakes pressure. That can be really stressful and frustrating and scary for people, particularly if they didn't intend to actually get there. And so the book is full of some suggestions, some tips, some guidance around what you can do around addressing those 10 blind spots and how you can help grow the business so it's no longer just about you. And from that, either people are in a better position themselves to carry on, or they've actually opened their thinking up to say, maybe I actually do need a little bit of help. Because that's one of the key things I look for when I'm actually working with clients. It's looking for that open and honest, willing to learn, that psychographic that's showing, you know what, we're growing, I want to grow the business, but I'm not really sure how, and I'm comfortable putting up my hand and asking for some help. And so when I see that in a team, that's when I know that I'll actually be able to help them grow as an organization. And it's kind of independent of the headcount or the revenue, but with that psychographic profile, that's where we can really make sure that wonderful things will happen. Because organizations, typically I work with businesses that are between 10 and 250 staff, doing between $2 and $50 million in revenue. But ultimately, it's about that psychographic profile. And when I see that, I've started working with teams that have had less than 10 and been doing less than $2 million in turnover. And quite quickly, we've been able to break through what is a bit of a natural ceiling for organizations and move on to their next phase of growth. Some being absolutely very, very significant growth over a fairly short period of time.
Well, congratulations on putting together a book with your experience of, uncovering some of those blind spots, the gaps that are really common that you see with your clients, but also what you've experienced in your own business of rebuilding it back to where it has been. Yeah. You're a founding member of the coaching directory. In fact, you were the first person to sign up, Anthony. So Let me ask you, what does joining the coaching directory mean to you and your business?
So when we first started talking about the coaching directory, I love the principle and the ethos behind the work that you're doing. I could love being part of active, supportive communities, and I saw TCD as being another one of those. And I love the way in which you're helping people who are potentially looking for coaching across all different areas: personal development, spiritual development, through to organizational growth and everything in between. And the fact that you're pulling this together just shows that not only for myself that I can say, okay, if I'm looking for an expert to help me in some areas of my life, as a coach, I fundamentally believe in the power of coaching. So it would be negligent of me to actually not tap into coaching as well. And I currently am, and I'm working through some work with a couple of coaches on different areas of my personal life, and that's giving me great results. And so I'm a firm believer in coaching. And so then being able to tap into the coaching directory, I saw as a real no-brainer. And I love the work that you're doing to get this out, really cementing the professionalism of coaching and showing that it's not just some hack, having a crack in the corner. They used to work for a large organization. They've got a little bit of experience, and they're saying, oh, yeah, I know how to coach, and off they go. You're actually doing a whole bunch of vetting so that when people do actually, if they do make it into the directory, it gives great confidence and credibility knowing that they've been through that procedure, that process before, to ensure that, they're high quality professional people. And I just am very humbled to be part of that community.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your lovely words. And I love hearing that coaches have coaches. We all have coaches. Everyone can use an advisor, a mentor, a consultant, and a coach at various stages of their life. Anthony, this brings us to the end of our interview series today, and I'd like to thank you. Anthony Wood, our guest from Pinnacle Traction. I've really enjoyed getting to know more about the system and the process that you take in order to help a business scale and grow to the levels that they want. It's been wonderful to have that opportunity to share your passion, which comes through quite a lot. So thank you very much.
My pleasure, Carla. Thank you very much for having me on.
And thank you to our audience for watching and listening to Meet the Coach. If you like our episode, we invite you to please rate and review us, and we look forward to catching up with you in our next episode. I'm Carla Egan, the founder of the Coaching Directory, where we help to connect you with your ideal coach.